Hello, and welcome to Dicey Deep Dive, a This Could Get Dicey talkback episode where your favorite group of buds, that's us, gets to unwind from their D&D podcast to dive into the latest happenings. Maybe not so latest in this case, but happenings on the podcast, as tonight we are recapping what we are affectionately calling the Venzor arc, episodes 30 through 43. It's everything from when we left, or got on the boat, to when we left Venzor. Obviously, spoilers ahead if you haven't listened to those episodes. Yeah, y'all, we just have so many good ideas for these episodes at the end of the month that we haven't recapped in a bit. So here we are.
Oopsies.
Trying to catch up.
Sorry.
We're
gonna do our best. We're gonna do our best tonight, everybody.
We're all here in this one, and we're gonna do our best to answer some questions from the listeners, from each other, but of course we're gonna first start with some trivia.
I'm gonna lose.
This trivia
is it multiple choice?
It's not multiple choice.
All right.
And also I don't know all the answers to the questions.
But
we'll get there together.
Okay.
And it's gonna be like true trivia on stuff that happened in the arc. Okay. I'll start you off with an easy one. And listeners, play along at home. The first question is...
We're watching.
First question. What is the name of the boat? I couldn't remember.
I know.
I think I know too.
I know it.
Okay, say it so that I can ask the rest of the questions.
Isn't it called the SS Ambulet?
No, the Queen S. Ambulet.
The Queen.
The Queen S.
Ambulet.
The Queen S. Ambulet.
And that came from somewhere, right?
It did.
Yes.
It came from... So the first campaign that I ran with, it had Destiny and Alex in it and some of our other friends. And there was a character in it named Sambalet, who's an actual character that's from we started with the Ghosts of Saltmarsh. What is it? I can't remember the names of these anymore. The book, whatever. And he turned into this really goofy character that stayed with them the whole time. For the most part, became their restaurant manager.
Top 3 NPCs of the entire campaign, for sure.
Oh. I wonder who... I figured he was, but I wonder who the other ones were. But that's later. But yes, his name was Sam Billett. He came from that. Voice is very similar to Anne Billett. One might... Right? Is that his name? Anne Billett? I should know this.
Yep. Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's his party boat.
So now he's immortalized in a boat.
Yeah, can you do the voice real quick?
Yes, 1 second. Hello, Squirrels Follies. Welcome to the Queen S. Ambulet.
Say there's been a murder.
There's been a murder.
Takes me back in time.
Wow. Second question. How do Ellis and Emil get Loomis onto the boat?
Didn't you drug me?
We drug him and drag him on the boat.
That is correct. Ding, ding. Anyone bonus points? Remember what we drugged him with?
A sleeping potion?
That's right.
Sleeping potion.
And then, follow-up question. What questionable thing does Ellis talk Emil out of doing once Loomis is on the boat?
You're trying to fucking sneak through his shit and look at his locket and look at his stuff. And I'm just you can't do that.
Yeah. So if Emil had done that, Destiny, what would he have seen?
You're gonna have to wait and find out because that hasn't even been revealed in the podcast.
That wasn't my best attempt.
Nice try, but not really nice try.
Okay, much harder question. Are you ready?
Yes.
Who is staying in room 15 on the boat?
Jesus Christ.
Any guesses? Wait, everyone think of your answer first.
Okay.
Don't say it. Everyone think of your answer. Alex, who is it?
Was it the mob guy?
It was not.
The guy that was okay.
That's a good guess. Destiny, who do you think it is?
Raya, or whoever they were pretending to be.
It's not Raya. Becky, who is it?
Was it the woman who was inconsolable? I can't remember her name.
It was not her.
Okay.
It was Jimothy Jonalyn.
Yes, that's the mobster.
That's the mobster.
That's the mobster guy?
That's the sandwich mobster. See, that was going to be my guess, and then you said no, so I had it right the first time, too.
Alex got it right.
Ding, ding,
Point
ding,
for
baby.
Alex only. Told you I didn't know all the
Answer.
answers to these. Yes.
Wasn't Jimmy Jonalyn a character created by a listener?
It was a fan-submitted character.
Fan-submitted character. So shout out. Okay. Who can name all 5 districts of Venzor? This
I
one's
don't
a
even
question
know if
for
I
Becky.
can. I don't even know if I can.
The financial district.
Brooklyn.
Yonkers, Queens.
Becky, let's see how many you can name.
Okay, High Hells.
Yes. Light Watch? Isn't that one?
Light Watch, that is one. Yes, Light Watch.
The Trade District?
Trade District, good, very good. There's one on the west side and then one on the south side.
The Docks District.
West side, south side.
Anyway, Venzor has 5 districts. It's a big ass city. We're in Venzor now. In episode 35, the Squirrels Foolies have breakfast at the Mazak's house. What is the notable item at the table in that episode for breakfast? Think about it.
Pancakes?
That might be true. That's not what I'm looking for, though.
Okay.
There's a special item at breakfast.
Everyone has their feet out because y'all are freaks.
It's your like accounting book or wherever you keep your ledger for the business.
No, this one was. Oh wait, no. Everyone's taking a guess, right?
Yes.
Vendove honey makes an appearance at the table.
Oh
The
yeah.
way honey does.
Ellis's family honey. Not follow up, different question, but along the same line. What do the Mazaks do every Sunday at dinner?
Dumb
Like
game.
Shark Tank.
The dumb business game.
Anyone remember what it's called? One of my better creations on the show, I think.
I mean, you can't beat Emil Masnax.
That's pretty good too. It's slightly alliterative.
Sunday small business ideas.
Switch it around.
Small business
Sunday.
Small business
That's
Sunday.
right.
Okay.
This
I
is a
looked
question.
up.
Oh yeah, you got the.
I looked up the
districts?
districts here. Okay, we got Trades District, High Hells, Westway, South Harbor, Light Watch. So I said South and West. So
You said South and West. You knew.
I knew.
I wouldn't have been able to tell you those two. Thank you, Becky.
Yes.
This is a question for Alex. What
Okay.
color did Elizabeth wear to the ball? You should know this.
You know, Ellis wasn't focusing on that. Really, Ellis is much more of a personality guy.
Ellis was looking at her big naturals.
His eyes were popping out of his head, and he was floating in the air, going awooga, awooga, awooga. Was she wearing? My gut is telling me a silver dress.
It was not silver.
But then.
But what's your heart say?
But your heart. What does your heart say?
Like a burgundy, like a.
That's
deep
exactly
red.
right. Ding, ding, ding. Listen to your heart.
Wow.
Because Ellis
You're
was
right,
also
dude.
wearing burgundy for this
I
one.
was
Yeah.
wearing burgundy.
Wow,
Damn, dude, that's crazy.
It's
dude.
almost like I maybe planned that, but I couldn't tell you
Damn.
in this moment if that's what was in my head or not.
You didn't have to say that part out loud, though. Everyone would just thought, what a genius move by Becky.
Wow. I
Wow.
like being honest with our listeners.
Oh, really? Ooh. Okay, 2 more questions. What was Ellis's boss's name in the kitchen of the Ernok estate?
Oh shit.
I can hear Becky's voice.
Becky, can you do the voice real quick?
I don't remember it.
Yeah, me neither.
It was gruff. It was like hey, like.
Oh, okay.
Was his name like Sloppy Joe or Sleepy Joe Biden?
No, that's not it. But it did start with a J. You were correct.
It started with a J.
Yeah.
Man,
His name was Jimbo.
Jimbo, yeah.
Jimbo.
And then last question: who is Angel Mazak's best friend in this whole wide world?
Loomis.
Yes.
It's
These
me.
questions were taken from the random scrawlings of my notes over these episodes.
Oh boy.
To give you an insight into what kind of notes I take for this game. That's all of our trivia for today. None of us won that one because it's been so freaking long. And in fact,
I thought I did pretty good.
Yeah, I kind of think Alex maybe
Alex,
won.
you won. You get a benefit for next time. I'll write it down. Alex gets a benefit.
Yes.
No, I thought it would be great actually along these lines, thinking about everything that happens between getting on the Queen S Anne Boleyn in Mistfall and getting out of Venzor, teleporting out of Venzor. So through the House of Wonders and all that. This is kind of like we had a bunch of listeners submit something along these lines, but from your characters' perspectives, for the three of us, what are the most important things that happened in this arc? So literally put on your character's lens, and what are the things that happened to your character in this arc that were the most important?
I think the most important thing for Ellis was that this was the first time he received and somewhat accomplished a mission for Nanoxis. It was the first time that he was tasked to do something and did it.
Yeah. So a follow-up question to that, because we're talking about the donkey assassins. Someone asked, I have two questions for you, Alex. What was going on in Ellis's head when asked to bring in these donkey assassins? Have you ever wanted to defy Nanoxis as Ellis?
I think with the donkeys, I think while I guess it was never really confirmed if Nanoxis was lying or not about if what he said about those donkeys, the story about the daughter and the lover and how they were killed, and how they sought revenge, if that was true, 100% true. I think Ellis in the moment kind of blind faith kind of trusted Anoxis and was yeah, that's a pretty fucked up story, and was kind of totally down to he felt that it was just in its own kind of twisted way. And I think for defying Nanoxis, I think there's a healthy dose of I guess cockiness that comes with Ellis, of just being you're the trickster, dude. I'm kind of tricky myself. It'd be cool to kind of pull one over on you, but I think for the most part, he just kind of saw this as an introductory this is his chance to just Nanoxis gave him these powers, so he might as well do this thing for him to just kind of keep this relationship growing and building before attempting to do something crazier later.
I remember feeling when Nanoxis actually gave you that mission and we were following through was one of the coolest in terms of conflicting missions between our characters, where it's these things are kind of at odds with each other, me trying to get through this ball smoothly while you're trying to get these assassins in. Was great fun trying to work that out.
I love that they were assassins. They were
the least stealthy assassins. I don't know why. I probably we should stop calling them assassins, I guess, but I mean that's what they were doing, right? They're going to assassinate.
Yeah, they were there to assassinate.
They certainly were no hitman.
It just goes to show that you can do anything if you set your mind to it.
So true.
Even if you're a demon donkey person, you can be a hitman.
Question, follow up. This is for Becky and Alex, kind of. At one point, when Ellis is pretending to be Nanoxis, the donkey demons called Nanoxis Prince, the title Prince. This listener was like, did we know that was a title for Nanoxis? Can you follow up a little bit with like what is Nanoxis' like real title as we like get to know him a little deeper?
Sure. It was, I think we've talked about it before, but Nanoxis' full title is Nanoxis Demon Prince of the Night. I don't really know why he's called that, but maybe that will come out later of like where did he get this like prince title and all of that. But he's a like full-blown god. He's fully a malevolent god. But he has the title of prince, so maybe there's a reason, maybe there's not, maybe we'll find out.
I think I read a book about Nanoxis, like the whole like story, like the long story of like the guy who like started worshiping Nanoxis and then ended up raising a bunch of demons. Like in there, that's when it's like when you first mentioned that he's like the demon prince.
Is that the Man in the Raven?
Yeah,
Yes.
the Man and the Raven, and I think you found like another book at the same time that was like, this guy's Demon Prince of the Night.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just a title that goes hard too, you know, like it's pretty.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So we did know that already, that he's the Demon Prince of the Night, full-on god and I guess patron you would call him to Ellis?
Yes, he is a patron
Okay.
to Ellis.
All right, back to that original question, Destiny. What's like the most important things that happened in this arc for Loomis?
I think two things come to mind. One, I guess, bigger picture was that I feel that the Squirrels Foolies have gone on like mini missions that led to bigger things. But this was like a big mission that led to a lot of offshoots and like routes the gang could go into and led more into the lore of it all, if you will. And for Loomis, I feel that gave him a little more sense of purpose within the group of just like, at first Loomis was just like, I'm along for the ride, whatever, I don't care. And this one was like, oh no, this is much more than all of us, but somehow the three of us are part of it somehow. So that was definitely a big impact on Loomis. And I think the second one would be making friends with Angel. I think that hit an emotional chord for Loomis, definitely more than I led on in the podcast. And maybe that's just Loomis not like, you know, just his secretiveness, don't want to like talk about that. But I think Loomis definitely enjoyed that, of just having a friend that was just like honest, I guess you could say. Not that Loomis doesn't think Emil and Ellis are honest, but just, you know, the childlike wonder of they're going to tell it to you how it is. They're not going to hold anything back. So I think those two things were pretty big for Loomis.
That's well played with Angel. I thought it was nice. I was like, the fact that Loomis is even tolerating
Yeah.
this kid was like, I was like, oh, Loomis must really like this kid.
Yeah, like I feel like Loomis tolerated Angel more than the two of y'all.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. This is a question. I don't know what it means, so I'm hoping we can figure it out
Wait.
together.
Wait,
Oh,
Kenny, you
what's
didn't
up?
answer.
Oh no, this is a follow up to Destiny.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what this question means, but it was so interesting the way it was written that I have to read it.
Ooh.
It says, questions straight from an episode with no answer. Would you still love Loomis if he was a worm?
That's a question for y'all, not for me. I'm going to love
don't-
Loomis no matter what.
What is this question about?
It's the classic internet joke of like girlfriend asks boyfriend, would you still love me if I was a worm? And it's like boyfriend be like, what do you mean?
Oh, did we ask this in an episode at one point?
I'm guessing that we made like a joke about it at some point. But
No, I would not
I
love
wouldn't.
Loomis if Loomis
No.
was a worm.
Cool.
I would not
It's
love
really
Loomis
cool.
if he was a worm.
interesting.
Interesting. Cool. Angel would.
Angel absolutely would.
Angel still has a lot of childlike whimsy.
I'm
Yeah.
putting some dots together. Like boys don't like worms.
I see what you mean. There's no correct answer to this question.
Exactly.
It's a trap.
That's the point.
Okay.
What do you mean there's no
All right.
correct answer? The answer is yes.
But
Oh. All right. Thank you, listener, for that question. All right. So, same question for Emil. What were the most important moments? Well, this was like an arc for Emil. It felt like going to Venzor. A lot of important things happened. The boat was really cool. Like, there was a little taste with Elm and Margery there, getting assassinated of like another important business figure. That was like cool for Emil to like interact around someone else who was in business. Obviously, like meeting his family, seeing the store was like really fun for me. So this place I had been picturing, and us actually getting to go there. All the family stuff. Getting a new suit was really fun for me to play. Was important for Emil. And then, I mean, the ball. I was like all the moments in there felt really big for Emil. But I would say like the biggest thing is like meeting his family, because I knew I wanted to have a character that had a family in this season. And this leads to a question from a listener, a question for Becky and Kenny. Was it weird for y'all to have role-play husband and wife, especially given the tough conversations, like where Emil reveals his condition to Kara?
A little bit. I mean, Kenny and I have been friends for like over 10 years, and there's never been anything romantic between us or anything. And I'm a lesbian. He's a
Me
straight
too.
man.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It was a little weird in that sense of like, I've done D&D stuff before where like I romance people like who are like female presenting, and so it's like, I don't know, much easier than being like, let me play the wife. And I'm also like, I don't know, like playing someone's wife is just like shoes I've never really like been in before or anywhere close. So in that sense, it was weird. The tough conversation stuff was less like that was, I mean, there was like uncomfortableness and I was like nervous about it, but I felt better about those conversations than I did about being like, hello, husband.
The minutia, yeah, like the
Yeah.
day-to-day stuff. Yeah, I guess I would say the same thing. It was more natural to like go into like a deep conversation with Kara. I've in plays like played a character that is like a romantic character before, so it wasn't hard for me to like go into that zone. What was really weird was like, and a listener mentioned this as well, but like, we're telling a story for a podcast, so it's like I want to make sure I'm saying things that are like good for storytelling and not just having like a cyclical argument, which sometimes couples can get into, that are just like nothing really of importance is being said and it's not pushing the story along. So that was like the real pressure for me. It was like I wanted to make sure we were saying things that were interesting to listen to and not just like
Just yelling at
traumatizing
each
or
other.
something. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So yeah, no, that wasn't that weird for me. What about playing Emil's kids?
His kids were, I mean, I guess they were, you kind of gave me like big enough, you're like this, you know, they were separate enough that made it easy to like be like, these are two different characters and they're not just like his kids and they're both the same kind of thing. It was like Angel has like a very distinct like outlook in life, loves like magic items, and Salda has a lot of is like way more pragmatic about life and very more serious and focused on the maths and all of that, and so that made it a lot easier to see them as like their own kind of characters instead of being like, they're kids, I don't know, figure it out. So
Yeah, I thought you
not
did
too
well,
bad.
especially like with the Loomis stuff. That was real cute. You two playing together like that. This listener, Becky, said, this is not really a question, but wants us to give a public shout out to you for the conversation, specifically relating to like grief and losing loved ones. And they said like maybe the question is like the line, it's more important that we have time together, not just like normal time. When Emil was talking about trying to get back to like having normal time together. Was that line pre-planned, or was it like true in the moment role play?
I looked through my notes and I didn't write it down anywhere, so it was true role play. I guess that came out. Yeah, I like whenever I know like these difficult conversations are gonna like come up, I start just like writing down like, what if we go this way? And I write down like I would say this sentence, and what if we go this way? And then I'll write down a sentence for that. And so I definitely like mentioned time a lot throughout those sentences I like wrote down, but that one definitely I think was like way more from like the heart and like in the moment. But yeah, thank you for the shout out on that. It's definitely was a hard place to like go to for me. There's like a lot of that like I have like personal what's the word? I can't think of it. Personal
Sure.
experience with. And so kind of like I've been like Emil's kids in this situation, so to speak, and so I was like kind of in that headspace of like, what would I say if these were like my parents, and kind of being like, now I get to be the parent, what would I say? And so that's kind of where that came from.
Well, shout out, it was sick.
Thank you.
Really good stuff. All right, enough character stuff. Becky, your turn.
Okay.
From the DM's perspective, overarching story-wise, what are the most important story beats that happened in this Venzor arc? The things that you were like, these are the beats I want to hit in this arc.
I mean, the biggest one was definitely like the ball and like all of everything sort of like coming together. You all had kind of like been in this central like funnel of like, we're part of the Court of Outlaws, we're going to go figure out who the benefactor is and all of this, and then kind of me having like other pieces moving around behind the scenes and needing to like show those and connect them, so that way stuff was sort of like unfolding and becoming like a bigger picture. So like the reveal that the benefactor's Granick, and that's like he's intertwined with like governments, and then he's also working with Silas, who's the son of another government person, and they're seemingly working with Raya, and so like all these kind of things sort of spilling out and connecting. I think like that was like, I knew that had to happen going into the Venzor arc, so that was a big thing.
So those characters, those like important government characters, like, not government, but Silas is in the government, right? Granick is like a government figure. Can you just walk through really quick before you move on, like what are those characters you just mentioned? What are their like actual roles? Can we just lay it out for people who are listening?
Sure. So each city, each like major city in Iceroon has, I think it's 3 like representatives and then like 1 main representative. So there's like 4 representatives total per city, if I remember right. And so Granick is one of those representatives for Therinhill. So that's like another city, not in Venzor. And so he's one of the 4 there. Silas is the son to one of the representatives, the Halleckfers in Venzor. So he's not necessarily like a big public figure, but like I'm sure he's like working in the offices, or I'm sure he's like being like an aide there and stuff like that.
There's
like
some light nepotism going on.
Exactly.
Okay.
So that's kind of how they fit into like, public officials, and these like representatives kind of have like, they have say over, commerce, they have say over law, they have say over like all kinds of things, and there's multiple of them, so that way it's not just like one person, it's not like a singular mayor or like a singular like person running a city. But yeah, they have sway, they're important figures, people know them, right? Like the Halleckfers are a like long-standing family in Venzor, so that's a pretty big deal that Silas is like tied in all of this, because like he's got everything probably, like his family like kind of, while they're not running the city of Venzor, like helped create the city of Venzor, so like that's big. Yeah.
Question for Destiny and Alex. any theories, like conspiracy theories about what's really going on, like as we're learning about more of these like connections between these characters who we didn't think were connected, Raya and the benefactor for the Court of Outlaws, you know, like these connections that we're figuring out. What's going on, do you think, is a question someone had. Becky can't answer this question, obviously.
Aw.
But we can give her some ideas with our answers. Right
So
now.
true. So true.
I think the robots have something in play and like that technology, because that was in the book that they wanted.
Yeah, they like really wanted that book from the collector.
From the collector. So I think it's just it all comes down to just like weaponizing something that they don't have, and to have a thing that they want, and to control people probably high level. But yeah, I think just with the fact of this, like how Becky just went over, like just how intertwined they were with this ginormous city. I mean, like, I don't know all the cities in Drugala, but it seems like one of the bigger ones of just like, it's interesting to know that one of the bigger cities that we have gone to, like a lot of people in charge are people who shouldn't be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought kind of piggybacking off of that, like obviously at this point in the campaign we know like sort of like the bigger conspiracy related to like a Torum and stuff, but like we still haven't gotten any answers about like what they wanted from the collector, like how that ties in.
Yeah, because we know they have access to the plant now. Like that much is clear. They had some.
Mm-hmm. And
yeah,
like the whole like creating like a living like sentient being from there. Like obviously it's like, are they going to use that to like help recreate a Torum, or are they going to like use it to enslave the population?
Theory just popped up. It's like Westworld, where they're building these robots to put the memories in the robots so that they can live forever.
People. Oh, yeah.
Or what you said.
Yeah, how many people? Kara wasn't actually there. It was actually one of these milk robots that they made with this plant. No, I think that there's some kind of like wanting to understand what more this plant can do, and like they're using it to feed a Torum, but is there more they could be doing with it to like get their mission done faster or whatever?
Yeah, and then are we just like assuming all of these people are also followers of a Torum, or they see it as ammo in a way of just like another way to back what they want out of the whole story?
Yeah.
Becky's typing stuff right now as we speak.
She's typing a lot of stuff.
It was one sentence.
Okay, yeah, so we'll figure out what's going on with all these people who are doing all this weird shit. But let's talk about the ball. Let's talk about what it was like to plan it, Becky, what it was like for us to play it, some of the shit that happened there, just kind of recapping what happened, because a lot of people submitted questions like, give a quick rundown, what happened at the ball, because it was pretty chaotic.
Okay. Well, yeah, I guess we'll start with like planning the ball. I knew before we even started, like before we recorded our first episode, I knew that I wanted us at one point to go to a ball. So one of our we did 2 test episodes. One was just like, let's just run like a combat and see how that goes. And then one I was like, let's practice like being in a room full of like tons of NPCs that like I have to manage, and you all are gonna be splitting up and doing different things. So we kind of did a practice run. It was like way different people. Same stuff was not like many of the things were not the same that were happening. So And I knew I wanted a ball because one of my like favorite missions in like a video game was from Dragon Age Inquisition, in which you have to like infiltrate into a ball to like learn information or like stop someone from doing something. I can't remember exactly, but like it was very like, it's always stuck with me of like, how cool is that to just be like thrust into like a different part of society maybe that you don't get to go to or whatever. So that's why I wanted to do it. All the moving pieces though, it was like, this ball happens every year, like this is just like a normal ball for many of the people there. I knew that there was like some pieces of like Granick is dating somebody who's the daughter of a representative of Venzor, so like there's kind of like political stuff going on of like high society and, you know, things that maybe like the average person doesn't care about, but someone like Emil would want to like rub shoulders with these people.
And I liked that you had planted that information on the boat like episodes before.
Yes.
We had overheard that little bit that
Yes.
they were engaged, which was really cool.
It was like a little rumor of like, I've heard that this thing is going to happen.
Yeah.
And so I knew like that was going to happen. I knew like in my head that like this was where the exchange for like the book was going to happen. So like I knew there has to be some moving pieces, right? Like eventually somebody has to go collect that book from that room, or, you know, so how do we get the book there? How do we do all that? And then there was like other pieces too, like if you all wanted to like play poker, you could go play poker, or like, so kind of like trying to flesh out this thing of like, if you all want to play it real fast, we can do that. If you want to like linger and try and like spy on like way more people in the crowd, like we could do it that way too.
And it did go hella fast. I feel like
it went real fast. It was
hit
like,
the ground running.
get the donkeys in. That blew up so fast because what happened? Like something happened and Ellis like broke concentration on something, I think.
Yeah, you made me roll a concentration check.
After Jimbo yelled at you, yeah.
Yeah, you're carrying the cold meat hot meat on
hot meat
it
that needs to go on to
cold.
cold ice so we could slow it down or cool it down. But yeah, so that broke, and so then like the donkeys were like very much present and no longer invisible, and so like stuff had to move a little bit faster. The donkeys were going after another representative of Venzor.
Oh, it's like the financial person, right?
Yes, they were going after Maiden Vambor,
right.
who's like the like head of commerce and is a representative in Venzor. The story that Nanoxis told about like what happened with him and his like daughter and all that is true. Was like not a lie.
Okay, cool.
I wanted it to have like that moral conflict of like, well, they just like, this guy sounds kind of crappy. He like disowned his daughter because she fell in love with like a woman. That sucks. But then he like hid that he even like killed his daughter, but like that was like a public hanging that happened, and so creating this moral conflict of like, well, he should die, but like, should he die at the hands of like these demon creatures? And also like, if they fail, what happens to them and like their souls and things like that. So
Alex and Destiny and myself, what are some of the things that you wish we could have done at the ball that we didn't get to because things kind of got crazy real fast?
I wish that the donkeys were able to kill Maiden Vambor. Like I was like really, really, really rooting for them, and even more justifiably so now, knowing that the story was like 100% true. It like obviously like, you know, it's like give and takes with like somebody like Nanoxis. Like, you know, there's gonna be like high risk and high reward, but like in Ellis's mind it was like, well, if they fail they just go right back into Nanoxis's clutches. Which they already were there, like even before, like they were gonna be there whether or not like a bird flew through Ellis's chest or not. So like that's, you know, not the best outcome, but at least the fact that they were like given the opportunity to like seek vengeance. I kind of wish like Ellis had done more to like, I guess, set them up for success more, but like I mean, like, also at the same time, he just wanted to accomplish the mission, which is just like the it was just get them inside.
Yeah.
That's all that was asked of him, and he was just like, well, I did that, so like you can't fault me for what happens after.
I wanted to have a scene where Emil taught Loomis how to do like a formal waltz, but it's like Loomis already knows how to do it because he's 200 something years old.
Yeah, it probably would have been the other way around.
Yeah. I want something like that where it's like we're doing some kind of high society situation and Loomis already knows what the deal is.
Yeah, I was definitely envisioning that would happen too, but like we said earlier, everything just happened so fast. It was just like, oh, nope, we're doing this. Now we're sneaking into this room. Mm. Loomis is invisible now. Okay, Emil's here. Now we gotta somehow get out.
But well, yeah, what it led to though, so next question, some of the stuff we did get to do at the ball was some of the coolest stuff I feel like we've done so far. Like, for me, it was really exciting seeing like the pieces come together for how to get, even though we were trapped in this room and like there was a really dangerous situation going on when we were like all in the library, trying to also still accomplish the mission that we were there for, like who is the benefactor, while also trying to avoid these donkeys coming in and ruining everything, and like doing the whole book fake out to see who flinched. I was like really proud of that moment. Like
that was good.
Cool, I love this. What are the things that you enjoyed doing at the ball?
I was very proud of my glitter spear.
Yes.
Putting glitter on
Put
top
the glitter
of...
on the dwarf's head.
Yes.
Yeah, on the dwarf's head.
Yeah, the whole bit with you in the library, invisible on top. That was fantastic.
I got to do a little bit of flirting with Elizabeth at the ball. That was nice. It was just like very friendly and like, just even amidst all the different intertwining plot lines going on, like Ellis still found a moment to like find the humanity in the moment to be like, oh, I'll not waste this opportunity.
I feel like Ellis took the most risk at the ball. Like,
For
you
sure.
were like, I'm not going to interfere with the donkeys. Like, going in, you're like, I'm just going to set them in, and then we're not going to do anything with them. And then you actually kept intervening with them. You were in disguise at some point. You pretended to be Noxus. You like put yourself out there with Elizabeth. I was like, damn, he's like repeatedly just putting himself out on the line for this mission.
I didn't want to I also was very proud of that moment, like thinking like to try to imitate the Noxus, but it was also like we had our own, like that was such a B plot mission for me, and like it was interfering so heavily with the A plot mission, and it was also going to potentially put you two in like big danger, and it's just like, yeah, it was a fun conflict that ultimately didn't work out in their favor, because they just like got like struck down, right, like off screen, like assumedly, like because we all jumped out of the window,
right,
and it was just assumed that a bunch of guards just stabbed these demon donkeys to death.
Yes, that is the assumed one.
Yeah, there was like a fight happening above us, but we didn't really get to see. I assumed that those donkeys didn't kill everyone at the party, so
they did not. No,
we may have heard about that. Becky, did you have a favorite moment of the ball?
Of the ball, that combat was like really fun to run. Of like being like creating this balance of like not just making it so easy for these like demons to walk in and just like stab someone of like great importance, but then also like trying to create tension of like you're in a room with a bunch of people and some of them have secrets and some of them don't have secrets and some of them are just like genuinely terrified of like these demons coming in from outside, and some of them are like, you know, maybe a little bit more aware of like what's happening in this room, and then there's people who are invisible, and so it was a lot to like balance and hopefully make exciting to listen and play through.
Yeah, dude, I almost died in formal attire.
Yeah.
All right, let's wrap this up. A couple of quick rapid fire things, just that I feel like we've maybe talked about or listeners have asked about that we should answer. Becky, any other pre-planned areas of Venzor we didn't get to explore?
I don't think so. I mean, I think I was wondering if y'all would like dig in more at the Citrine delegation. Like it was pretty much like we walked in, we go to Cirque Night Thought, we come back out, but like that was like a whole building full of like famous arcanists and like famous historians and
Yeah.
or like, you know,
I feel like
people.
the Citrine delegation is still a big question mark in the campaign because they like
Yeah.
are in some way responsible for Emil's whole mission. Like Sir Quay Nithod sent Emil on this mission to find the Indigo Magnolia. And someone had asked, explain the relationship Emil has with Sir Quay Nithod. What was it like returning to him with more information? And for Emil, it's more like a kind of like a big. It didn't end up being as big of a moment for Emil as I thought it would have been at the beginning of the campaign, but that didn't feel weird. Like it felt like, yeah, this is just a guy who, like an academic of some kind, maybe more than an academic, but someone trying to help this guy with a weird condition, sees him as more of an experiment, but doesn't feel like nefarious or anything at the moment.
I think that like part of my maybe conscious, maybe subconscious like goal of like the Venzor arc was to kind of like knock Emil down a couple notches of like, you think you're on this like kind of like noble mission to find a cure for you know, Drees blood, and that like in doing so like you're doing something very honorable for your family and you're doing something great for like the Citrine delegation, and then kind of like to come back and be like, no, I wish you were here instead of gallivanting across the country looking for a cure. Cool, you found more information or didn't find more information. That's just like nice academic progress, and sort of like making Emil feel a little bit smaller maybe in the world and less like this like overconfident businessman.
Yeah, no, I think that definitely happened for Emil. Like the homecoming wasn't as like like celebratory as he would have liked. Yeah.
I think I felt worse for Emil, like kind of meeting Sir Quay Nithod than like with the family stuff, because like the family stuff was like expected. It's just like, yeah, that's gonna be like a rough conversation no matter what. But like Emil had like previously like kind of hyped up this dude as like, yeah, like this dude's like he taught me everything, you know, like he's like a big mentor. Like it had like big mentor vibes. And then when we spoke to him, he was just kind of like, cool, sweet, yeah, awesome. Like it was just like, it was almost as if like Emil was just like a folder in his like large filing cabinet of just like, I have a bunch of other shit going on, dude.
Yeah,
like,
mission accomplished, Becky with Sir Quay Nithod.
Nice.
It was good.
Yeah, I think when we originally like came up with him, I thought about making him more like nefarious, or maybe like and maybe stuff will still come out, I don't know, but like but I did like this idea of him not being this like super present, super available guy. He's just like, yeah, I helped train you and now you're on your way, and like that's kind of the end of my list, unless you want to like, you either have to like fully dive into like academia or that's all I can offer you kind of thing. Yeah,
no, I do like, because I mean there's still like lingering hooks there, because a couple of times now we've been told if you want more answers you need to go to Breinhorn, you know, like there's more going on there for you than we can offer you here. And I yeah, it's just nice that it's like we don't matter to this fucking organization, this big organization that covers the whole continent. That's good. Okay, 2 more questions. Oh, sorry, Becky, was there anything else pre-planned in Venzor we didn't get to see?
I don't think so. I mean, there's all these like different areas, but no, I don't think I like really went crazy with planning out the whole city, thankfully. And y'all are pretty good about being like, this is where we're going, this is our like line, and I'm like, okay, that's great, yeah. Perfect. It's like makes planning very easy.
This is not chronological, but going back to the boat, so on the boat, some major things that happened for those who asked. We get on the boat. We're having a good old time relaxing that first day. We're seeing a little bit of a more relaxed side. And then there's a murder. And then that murder ends up being Elman Marjorie, who is like a big business guy, has the Marjorie Trading Company in town. This is where we meet Raya. We do a bunch of investigating. It's really fun. People are wondering, Emil, why did you push Raya off the boat and not just kill her then and there? To which I have 2 answers. And we've actually talked about this quite a bit, I feel like off air. And it does like come back up, so I'm going to put it to bed once and for all. 1, Emil was almost dead. So I was at like 2 hit points. And I took the charger feat for Emil specifically to like play out fear in combat. You know, he started much more like less willing to fight than he is now that he's like a higher level. But like I wanted him to have an ability that lets him escape fighting. So I finally saw an opportunity and I took it by pushing Raya off the boat. So cowardice is part of the reason. And then also, from like a storytelling perspective, I could tell that Raya was like a very interesting character. I don't know, Becky, would you have like let us kill her there? Because she seemed super interesting. There was like the whole flower thing and the journal, and I was like, there's no way this is supposed to be the end of this character. Like,
yeah, I had an out if you didn't do that, so it was probably like either way going to happen that she was going to escape from the boat. But it made it was like a very fun like story point to be like, no, she didn't escape. You all fled, you know, or like you all got her out of there.
You all?
Yes. But yeah, but at the end of the day, like, I'm very glad that she didn't die there, because my whole purpose of like putting her on that boat was like, this boat can't just be an easy boat ride, and I think it would be fun to introduce like a main sort of like villain character in a way that like depicts her as this sort of like unhinged person who's like kind of like, I mean, you all sort of tried to follow like the thread there, and like she kind of just like killed him because like she could, or because like maybe he was gossiping too much about like Granick, or like, you know, but that like that's kind of it. Like she was just like ready to kill if an opportunity came up.
Yeah, spooky bit there in the campaign. All right, last thing, and then we'll be done with this recap. What's a moment from this arc that you like truly loved or enjoyed? Like, what is like a keystone event for you in this? And I don't mean like the big events. I mean like what was fun. For example, I really loved playing with, like, we sent Loomis to pick up the kids from school, and then Alex and I got to play like Spa.
Yes, that was funny.
Which was
so funny.
a joyous thing we got to do, and doing the like walkie-talkies to be like, get some mint from the garden, all that stuff. Loved that little like 20 minutes of recording. Felt very fun.
I was gonna say the same bit of just Loomis picking up kids from school, because I think Destiny would also be awkward picking up a friend's kids from school. So that was nice to play out while y'all were having a spa day. It was like a mini beach episode.
Yeah. Yes. Tiny little beach.
I really liked kind of getting like put to the test to like sell stuff in Venzor's varieties, and like selling the boots to that lady. Was like a sweet little that was just like a sweet little vignette of like montage of us all working a shift in a
retail
general store.
A little retail RP real quick.
I have to. I do think the conversation with Kara and Emil was like probably one of my like favorite moments, or it's like up there for like moments of the campaign so far. I think it was like just something I'm proud of, and like I think it kind of was a nice like character development moment for Emil as well. And then my other one was when Loomis went to the temple to Dodothal and like tried to enter.
Yes.
And it was such like a tiny little thing of where you're like, I want to do something real quick.
Forgot about that part.
Yeah.
That was really good.
But it was really good. I think it was like, you know, you had just spoken with Professor Ramovec and then like left.
Oh yeah, the blanket. The whole like blanket bit with Professor Ramovec.
Yes, yeah. That was before y'all. That was
I know,
this
yeah,
fall,
but
so, yeah.
Still, well, that's good.
But yeah, you had that whole like moment, and so like you carried that into Venzor, and so maybe it'll come back up. I don't know. But I liked that. It was like Loomis has these nice reflection moments. So
He meditates
All right,
for a reason.
That's our Venzor arc. We boated in, we worked, we partied, we avoided murder, and we teleported out of there. Thank you, Becky, by the way, for giving us a teleportation box. I pushed real hard for it.
Oh my god. Like, I don't think Alex or Destiny care at all, but Kenny was like, I hate travel so much. Please. And I mean, like, this world is not created in which there's like teleportations. Like, Kenny's campaign that I've played in before, he's like, oh yeah, you pay a couple gold and someone will teleport you somewhere else in the world. I'm just like, what are you talking about?
I'm not doing transportation.
I love transportation.
I spend so much time in my car in real life. I'm not trying to travel in my fantasy world. But thank you everyone for joining us for this recap of the Venzor arc. If there's something we missed, if you had a favorite moment, I don't know, comment it somewhere, do something with that information. But thanks for joining us. We promise we're going to get you another recap of the Ursa Anor arc, which is going to be the next one we cover. Right after this, that's going to be everything with, transporting to the woods, Helena, all that good stuff. So we'll get you that real soon. In the meantime, do I say this could get dicey? Is that how I end the episode?
I think so.
This could get dicey.
Boo! Boo, you're not supposed to say that.
No, hey, you said, miss.